The cost of living in the United States has officially gotten to the most expensive number it has ever gotten to.
There's a nursing shortage. There are so many labor shortages because people simply, it's not that people don't want to do these jobs, it's that we simply don't make enough to survive doing these jobs. Like, I want to do my job. I cannot afford to do my job.
Go back and watch her video. This is her username, just so you have reference. I actually had this conversation with my father a little while ago. Had a conversation about like how hard it is to get a job, right? And it's not that you just can't get a job. It's that all jobs are equally fucked. None of them pay any money. They don't want you to have, if they do have full-time hours, they don't want you to work any overtime. If they don't want you to have full-time hours, you're not going to ever get them, so you can't get any kind of overtime benefits, if they even give you any, if they're worth a damn. So then there's the cost of going to work. There's the time that it takes to go get all that shit for food and all that for the week. There's the time to meal prep and all that. There's the time you gotta wash your laundry, wash your clothes. You gotta get your car fixed in between and all that. You gotta sit in traffic and all that time. You gotta get up early, get ready. You gotta do all these things. And then you gotta pay for all this out of your pocket. The fuel and the oil changes and all this shit that you drive and earn to get the company more money. And I said, I can't, it's like the pandemic has shown everyone. I had to explain this to them. Everybody realized we can't afford to work for you. Do you understand that? If a minimum wage bullshit job doesn't pay you enough to live, what the fuck are we doing here? If we're not actually changing things in the reality of the world we live in, what the fuck are we doing here? No one just wants to do the stupid little bullshit thing that they're doing. We all want to do something amazing. We all want to go out and push our skills and our creative and our God-given gift that we manifested through ourselves being here into the thing we actually want to do that we know will help the society somehow in a better. And we're trapped under capitalism. And it's because of that that we will never move forward. It is because that people just don't understand. The system is so fucking rigged against us, and it is increasingly becoming worse and worse every day, and people who have multiple homes still refuse to acknowledge or even look at what we're talking about, while ingesting and inhaling the system and consuming the matter that they are going to then turn around and have to pay for nursing and funeral homes to take care of them instead of passing that wealth down to us. They don't realize this, but this is the future that's coming to America. Welcome to America, the new American dream.
The cost of living in the United States has officially gotten to the most expensive number it has ever gotten to, expressed in total or as a percentage in the history of the United States. For a single person right now, on average, it is costing $38,000 per year to just live in America. $3,189 per month. I don't understand how they expect that to be possible when the average income for one person in America in 2019 is $31,000. You adjust that for inflation as $38,000 in today's money. Even just looking back to the year 2000, looking all through the decades leading up, in 2023, we are officially at the highest point of cost of living it's ever been. Go back just 30 years to 1990 and the rent was only $465, a new house $123,000, and the average income was $28,000. So the change from 1990 to now is only $3,000 a year average income, but the cost of everything else has gotten almost quadrupled, or in some cases 10x'd. What's the end goal? What do they think is going to happen when the middle class can't afford to do anything? Everyone is officially at a point now where they're working just to live.
I've accidentally fallen down a rabbit hole and I can't stop watching videos about what people have cut from their budget with the cost of living inflation. So I really wanted to see what's going to happen now that student loan repayments are also starting on top of that. Sadly, but not surprisingly, only 29% of people said that they felt confident in making payments, and 34% said that they didn't think they'd be able to make payments at all. So because of that, a few things are very likely to happen. The first being, hi bud. Anyways, because of that, the first thing that will happen is there will be a lot of delinquencies on student loans after this 1-year grace period is up. Number 2, I can't teach you empathy, but I can teach you how this will affect you, and a drop in consumer spending is definitely going to affect you, especially if you work for a small business. And number 3 is where I fall, because when I looked at my budget, I realized if I wasn't putting that $400 a month towards student loans, it would be going towards my retirement. And number 4, I'm sure was expected, because people are going to need to take out additional debt because they don't have enough income to live. Now, I did manage to bring my student loan payments down $200 a month, and I'm going to make a video on exactly how I did that, so make sure to follow along so you don't miss that one.
Oh my gosh, it finally happened, because Americans are on the brink of bankruptcy, and this money story just keeps going from bad to worse. Because first is inflation, which is up in the month of August at 3.67%. And you might think to yourself, well, that's no big deal, it's just 3.67%. But this is your money, and it means for every $1,000 that you make, you're really only able to buy $963 worth of goods, because that remaining $300 and change is just inflated away. And to make matters worse, the inflation in our economy isn't confined to just avocado toast or the occasional cup of coffee. It's actually taken root in the most important things that we buy every day, like gasoline and the cost of keeping a roof over your head. Gasoline prices in this country are getting out of control, and rent prices have increased every month for the last 40 months. That's over 3 years of month over month, the basic cost of having a place to live has increased. But wait, it gets worse, because the Federal Reserve, who is in charge of making sure that the economy doesn't go spiraling down the toilet drain, which, newsflash, they're not very good at their job. They're in charge of combating inflation, and they're trying to, and right now their only option to make that happen is by raising interest rates. Which means if you still don't have a house but you're close, if you buy one now, the cost of your mortgage is going to be higher than it's ever been compared to what the cost of your home is, at least if we look at the last 10 years. But thanks to inflation, in many states, the cost of the home itself is close to or at all-time highs. But wait, it gets even worse, because the Federal Reserve recently released studies showing that household savings in the United States has been going down every month for the last 2 years. Because back in 2021, Americans had roughly $2.1 trillion in savings collectively. And as of July of 2023, that number has dropped to $198 billion. And Americans collectively have been drawing down on their savings at a rate of around $100 billion a month, meaning by the end of September 2023, that's this month, US households will run out of savings collectively. But wait, it gets worse. Because in October, student loans, which have been on pause since the pandemic, are scheduled to kick back in again. So your money now buys you less stuff, while the Federal Reserve raises interest rates against you if you're trying to buy a home, while the cost of rents keep going up every month. While at the same time, student loans are coming into play, so you're gonna have less money in your pocket, and your money doesn't go as far to begin with because of all the inflation. And that's it, I'm done. That is the bleak state of the United States.
There's so much more to that story.
There's more?
So much.
I can't give them more bad news. They're not gonna want to follow my channel if I just have nothing but depressing shit to
you
share.
gotta tell them everything. Tell them about corporate profits.
There's more. Because it would be one thing if Americans as a whole were entering into financial dark times altogether as one United States, but that's not what's actually happening. Because in 2022 and 2023, corporate profits have been at or near all-time highs. A small portion of our society is doing better than they've ever done before. And I personally am all for getting rich. I want to have more money. I want you to have more money. I think we should live in a country where we all have the opportunity to be doing better tomorrow than we did yesterday, collectively. Some of us aren't going to make it, but if we live in a place where all of us have the chance to, that's exciting. But that's not what's happening. A small group of people are getting richer not by providing more value to society, but by extracting value from it. For example, Blackstone, a private equity firm on Wall Street, led by this man, Stephen Schwarzman, who's the CEO of Blackstone. This guy took home over $250 million in profits in 2022. Pfizer's CEO, Albert Bourla, got a 36% pay increase in 2022 and took home $33 million. And we all know why Pfizer did so well in 2021 and 2022. And if that's not disaster capitalism, I don't know what is. Because what's happening in the United States definitely feels like it's unsustainable. And it also sadly feels like the government is on the side of corporations rather than the people. Because remember the Pfizer CEO that took home $33 million last year? In that same year, 2022, Pfizer signed a $3.2 billion deal with the US government, meaning our tax dollars are funding Pfizer and helping their company hit record profits, allowing them to give their CEOs massive pay boosts with money that comes from US taxpayers. And it's really frustrating because I wasn't a great student in school, but I seem to remember the role of government being something like regulating big businesses to protect the people from big businesses overstepping their bounds and doing things that are just not good for society. Right now, in 2023, it seems like government is aligned with those same corporations at the expense of the American people. So the question is, what are we all going to do if things keep going this way? Is the answer stop buying the avocado toast, which is keeping us all in poverty? Or maybe we all just start collecting rainwater so we can grow our gardens off-grid to sustain ourselves?
Actually, that's illegal in 11 states.
It's illegal to collect rainwater in 11 states?
You can't do it.
Are you kidding me?
Not kidding. And actually, you live in one of those 11 states.
Well, shit.
Life is challenging and tries to take all of your energy.